The best of the Morning X.
99X.
I've got to find out about the Fleecing of America, and I got to find out about it now.
Please say hello to Tom Brokaw. Welcome to the Morning X, sir.
Yeah, well, thank you. Good morning to all of you.
Hey, Tom. I still, that Fleecing of America, that's like the catchphrase of the 90s, I think.
Well, I think it's something a lot of people are interested in because they're re-examining constantly the role of government in our lives, and then when they find out that there are these excesses or boneheaded decisions that have been made and spending their money on projects that really are of very little use to the taxpaying public in general, I think that they deserve to know about it. But we're also kind of lifting our sights a bit and going beyond government. Corporate life, a lot of retailers, a lot of mail-order businesses, they're all involved in the Fleecing of America. And one of the roles of journalists, of course, is to be a watchdog for everybody else.
It's really a pleasure having you on the show this morning. We were wondering what your normal day is like, when you get up, when you start your day.
Yeah, what is the normal Tom Brokaw day?
Well, an easy day for me means that I get up between 6:30 and 6:45 and kind of get read in both on my computer here at home and I get 6 newspapers that arrive here in the morning, and I rifle through those in a hurry, and then I have what we call in our household anyhow, Sage the Wonder Dog, a great yellow lab, and we take off for Central Park, the two of us, and do either, depending on my mood, a short or a longer lap and throw the ball around a bit. And I listen to the radio, switching back and forth between a very popular drive time program here and NPR and other programs, and then come back and get ready to some more. And I'm going to be leaving here at about 9 o'clock to go to the office, and I get there about 9:15 every morning, and then, the day starts. That's a good start to a normal day.
What's the popular radio show you listen to there?
Well, I listen to Imus a lot because he's on MSNBC, obviously.
Right.
And I also have learned that he brings on the air a lot of people who are talking about things that are of interest to me, Washington figures and others. But I must also tell you, you may not be aware of this, but a big break in my life came in 1965. It's a long time ago, when I was hired at WSB in Atlanta, and I went to work down there. I flew from Omaha to Atlanta, got a job, went back, collected my wife and our meager belongings, and we drove across the country, and I was welcome South Brother, so Atlanta has a big place in my heart.
I didn't know you worked at SB.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I was a 25-year-old 11 o'clock anchorman, and I've always felt that I should apologize to all the people in Atlanta who were getting their news from this 25-year-old Yankee, but it worked out pretty well.
I bet some of the anchors that you worked with are still in the market.
Well, there are a few around, although I think fewer all the time. There was a great radio personality in those days who did radio news by the name of Aubrey Morris. He's now retired, but he was kind of a legendary figure in those days.
Well, you probably worked with Larry Munson.
Yep. Well, there was we arrived that fall. We'd grown up in the Midwest in the tradition of the Big 8 and the Big 10, as they were called in those days, and somebody gave us a pair of tickets, and that fall we went over to see the Bulldogs play Alabama, and it was one of the great Bulldog games of all time. They won with a little flea-flicker at the end and went for 2 and got the score, and I've often told Coach Dooley it made me an instant Bulldog fan. They beat Bama. They were rated number 1 in the country that year, and Bear Bryant, of course, was still coaching then, and because of somebody giving us our tickets, we were sitting in the Alabama section of these 2 newly minted Georgia Bulldog fans, doing our best to uphold the Georgia tradition right in the middle of the Alabama rooting section, right below the band. So it was a memorable experience for us.
We thought for a while you might be coming back to Atlanta because of the CNN rumors.
Well, Ted is a great friend, and he flattered me enormously by talking to me about coming to work there. And at another stage of my career, I think that I would have very, very seriously considered it. I did consider it very seriously this time, but I've been at NBC News all of my adult life, and they've been very good to me, and Ted knew that. We talked about it on a personal basis.
You got to think for a second, though. You got to think, Atlanta and the big chaired CNN, that sounds good, but then...
Well, also, I like when you say he flattered you enormously, you read that as he offered me a boatload of money.
Well, it's not just a boatload of money, but he was willing to, invest a fair amount of CNN in me and putting me on the air at night. And, the nice thing is that our friendship survived the fact that I decided to stay at NBC. He still teases me about it a lot, but I have the highest regard for him, both personally and professionally. I mean, here's a man who's made an enormous impact on this country and everything that he's ever done professionally and then personally in the last year. With his statements about philanthropy and the importance of giving back, I think it's had a huge impact. Just yesterday, John Malone, who runs TCI, said he was going to give $1.5 billion to education. I think that John probably would have done that anyway, but I'm confident that Ted kind of put that in his mind about giving back while you still have it.
Yeah, he set the bar, no doubt about it.
You bet.
I wanted to ask you your opinion of the effectiveness of TV ratings, because yesterday the president of CBS came out and said that parents rarely prohibit their kids from watching shows based solely on the ratings. Do you think they're effective?
My guess is that they're not. I do think that, and NBC has taken a fairly strong stand on this, but my own personal experience as a father is that you really have to develop that relationship with your own children and talk to them about what are the programs that you think that they ought to be watching and develop a dialogue with them about what they are watching and why. They'll always find a way around it, even if you put some kind of an electronic lock on a television set. Children especially will be able to figure out how to undo that. So I think it begins at home, and I've often said to people, television is not automatically on the air 24 hours a day. It does have an on-off switch, and part of your obligation as a parent is to talk to them and to deal with that on-off switch just as you would with driving or drinking or any other social challenge for them.
This interview isn't over. More after a quick break. You can also find it and more on the Morning X with Barnes and Leslie podcast. You're inside the best of the Morning X.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
I've been doing this show for decades and decades and decades.
With rapid-fire takes.
Learn how to stop it, learn how to run it, or at least make a good argument. I don't even like the play. I've never fought so hard to defend something I don't like.
Scorching debates.
You can beef about anything you want. Why are you pushing me?
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Just so you all know, this is no one-off. This is what we're going to get every single day.
Let's go, Jim!
Let's go!
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.